usually start talking right away. And then when I watch it later, the video doesn't cover the first few seconds. So, I'm just a humble little yoga teacher. I've got limited space here. I'm sure you have limited space. I'm about to share with you my daily routine. And I do this pretty much every day. And I try to do it every day, right? 7 days a week. And then that way, when I have to rest or the universe steps in and tells me to slow down, then, I've been getting more days in than I would have if I had only been trying to do 3 to 5 days a week, right? So, some people reached out to me on Blue Sky asking about advice for the current situation, and I responded as best as I could, given the circumstances, but we live in dangerous times. If you're someone who loves compassion and other people and plants and animals, then you're in danger right now. So, one way to deal with this is through having a daily routine of meditation, yoga, and martial arts. And that's what I'm about to do, my own daily routine, and I encourage you to join me. I have limited space, so I use this room. It's the only spare room that we have in the apartment. There's 2 rooms. So I'm gonna take out all the stuff that's in here and clean the floor. And I encourage you to do the same. You just need the space the size of a yoga mat, and then you have your practice space, right? So we're gonna do a Tibetan Buddhist meditation on the Buddha. Then we're going to do the short version of the Ashtanga Yoga Primary Series. And then we're going to do the martial arts body weight workout, which will be in the format of high intensity interval training. And that's right here if you want to follow along. So there will be a full body exercise, then legs, then upper body, then core. These are the techniques related to the exercises we're doing, and these are the boxing combinations that I'm working on right now. So if you want to follow along, then I would take a screenshot of that so that you can do these later. And if you want an explanation, you can watch and see how each one is done, or you can leave a message in the comments and I'll get back to you. Let's see, all the comments are held for review, so you can comment afterwards when I'm done or on a previous video. It's always the same thing. So right now, I'm gonna put on some music or a Dharma talk. Let's see what I can find, and I'm gonna clean up the room. And I do that because it's part of the practice. I live stream that because it's part of the practice. So, having a clean space to do your meditation, yoga, martial arts routine is very important. And after I clean up the room, I'm gonna have my little breakfast here, or beforehand, a little peanut butter and jelly sandwich with some fruit, and I have my pre-workout right here. So I recommend you get some coffee, some strong tea, or some pre-workout before you do your routine, and to sip on it during the routine to keep you going and focused. So let's see, right now I'm gonna pull up the Buddhist nuns I've been listening to. They are also the teachers for the meditation that I play. I have a playlist called Political Buddhism on my channel. If you look for it, you can find a bunch of short Dharma talks. And I also have a playlist of this daily routine. So some months ago, I was at a monastic retreat for nuns. These look pretty good, so we'll play this while I clean up the room. I recommend you listen, clean up your own space, get a yoga mat and some pillows ready to sit on. Degree, and she was requested to give a talk on the Vinaya, and she chose the topic of the Vinaya of single intent, the Gongchik Vinaya, and it's a text that was, I think, composed by the founder of the Drikung Kagyu lineage, Lord Jigten Sumgun.
So she gave a talk in like the entire traditional style, right? We began with the traditional Tibetan prayers to Manjushri and so forth. And then she introduced the writer of the text, gave us some background on the importance of learning the Vinaya, and then some background on the text, and then zoomed in on one line from it's like 20 pith verses or statements about the Vinaya, and then she zoomed in on number 13, which was basically about what to practice and what to abandon, and focused on the 10 non-virtues and how we can practice avoiding them in our daily life. And then she ended off with a brief question and answer. And so, everything about that teaching was traditional, except that it was given by a young nun, who, was of Tibetan origin, but her family lived in exile in Nepal, is my understanding, and that's where she grew up. And she was among the first generation to receive the Kenmo degree. So there was that in the morning. And then later that afternoon, another young nun from Bhutan, who belonged to the Bhutan Nuns Foundation, gave us two presentations. One about the establishment of the Bhutan Nuns Foundation, what they were all about, what their work was, and then another presentation about the first full ordination for nuns that was given in Bhutan, I believe, last year. Yeah. And so, she had had a college degree before ordaining. So she was very articulate. She spoke entirely in English, whereas the Kenmo in the morning taught in Tibetan and had a translator. And at the end of that day, I just sat there thinking, wow, this is one of the happiest days of my life. I don't know why I had that thought. I just kept sitting there thinking, I was just so happy to see these presentations by these nuns. And I think I'm still kind of working out why that thought arose, because in a sense, I have done nothing to move the women's movement or improve the education of Himalayan nuns. I was born at a time where already my mother was the first in her family to go to college. She worked a full-time job. And like Venerable said, when I was in her embryo, I'm sure she already knew I was going to be a school teacher and had planned that out. And there was no way I was not going to go to college and get a job. So, growing up, those are all things I took for granted. Access to education, access to employment. And also when I had a job, I did experience some sexual harassment at my first job, and I quit. I didn't have to sit there and take it to support the family or whatever. I did write in my exit, letter, like things that had disturbed me about the workplace. I don't think anything was done, but, I wasn't like someone with no voice, yeah? So those were all things I just took completely for granted throughout my life. And it's taken me so long to recognize that this is not the situation of women worldwide. And especially, through learning about the history of nuns in the Buddhist tradition and all the obstacles women have had to overcome. And that, till today, it's taken so much work for women in the Himalayas to have access to education, and then after getting access to ordination, and then after that to have access to a religious education. So I think just to see kind of all that embodied in these young women, I was just struck by like, wow, just the incredible efforts of so many people for something like that to bear fruit. And it feels almost like, and within one lifetime, right, or within my lifetime, for me to witness this kind of social change was very moving. And I've just been thinking about how that's not something to be taken for granted, because on the plane on the way back, I watched a docudrama about, it was titled Till, and it's the story of Emmett Till's mother. Yeah, so we all know the story of Emmett Till. For those who don't, he was a 14-year-old boy who was from Chicago, and already it was Chicago was already desegregated, right? And all right, people who know American history better than I do, but at least the situation there was different from the South, let's put it that way. And then his family wanted him to get to know his roots, and so he went back to Mississippi to visit his cousins. And during that time, some kind of faux pas happened when he went into a store to buy candy, the result of which was the woman store owner felt threatened. No one actually knows what happened in there. The New York Times' best guess is that he might have put money into her hand and touched her, thereby crossing this huge boundary. Yes. Yeah, decades later, she said she lied. Yeah, so all that's shown in the film, where, anyhow, because of that, he one night gets violently kidnapped, basically from his cousin's home, and is brutally murdered, lynched. Yeah. So yeah. Anyhow, there are many more things to say about this. But what was remarkable about the docudrama is that it focused on his mother and how she dealt with the grief and eventually became a civil rights activist and spoke very strongly, about what happened and made it, changed the country as a result. But what was the most shocking to me was that at the end of this very powerful drama, that the actress did such a good job. You get this one screen that says, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act was passed in March last year, 2022, 67 years after the lynching of Emmett Till. His mother did not live to see this. She had dedicated her whole life to civil rights work and education. She passed away in 2003. Mamie Till passed away in 2003. So just that one screen, I thought, my goodness, it took 67 years for just this law to be passed. And whether it has teeth or not, I don't know, the details of it. Yeah, so that was like a sobering reminder that like all this kind of the hard work that so many people are involved in to be able to witness change within a lifetime is so rare and so tenuous, it seems. But at the same time, I remind myself to rejoice. No matter what, we have to rejoice when we see virtue being created, when virtue bears fruit. Maybe because, too, I have a tendency to, look at what is not enough, what hasn't been done yet, what more can be done. So I think that moment of witnessing those two young nuns, I'm just wanting to keep in mind the joy of reflecting on all the causes and conditions that had to come about for them to take their place, not just to receive that education, but now to be able to share it with others and to be of benefit. And then, of course, keeping in mind that it's an ongoing process. We have to continue to create those causes for that situation to continue to exist for nuns in the very long term.
So, Venerable Chunni's BBC yesterday really sparked my mind. She talked about how we react to feedback, and it reminded me of the meditation class that Venerable Sepul and I did Monday night, and the content from the book An Open-Hearted Life that was written by Venerable Chodron and Russell Colts. This book, we've gone through it so many times. And each time there's so many pearls of wisdom that arise, and it's like, oh, so I thought to share a little bit of that today. This book is really transformative methods for compassionate living. That's what it's about, how to develop compassion. And the section of the book that we did on Monday night was cultivating compassion. And so basically what it talked about is if we're committed to deepening compassion, over time we want to pay attention to our thoughts. And that's kind of we know, that's kind of a no-brainer. But, when you think about it, if you pay attention to your thoughts using introspective awareness, the spy in the mind, you can start recognizing when your thoughts are focused on something that you're giving it inappropriate attention, and then afflictions are arising in the mind. And we have so many different thoughts all day, some kind, some cruel, some happy, some sad, some, jealous, some loving, all different kinds of thoughts. And once we have the ability to track what the thoughts are, then often we move into getting very down on ourselves and judgmental and harsh with ourselves because our mind seems like kind of a mess, But at that point, right then, the next step is to cultivate acceptance. And that is so important because our ability to not have afflicted thoughts doesn't come until we're quite far along on the path. There is no way that I can control my mind so afflicted thoughts do not arise. And I would think that might be true for most people. Yeah. So to just get down on ourselves because we have afflicted thoughts, that is not helpful. That really stops our progress quite a bit. And so what our practice really is to recognize when the afflictions start to arise, or have arisen and they're there, is to start applying antidotes. Learn what the antidotes are and then start practicing to see which ones work for our particular minds. There's many, many antidotes, and some work really well and others don't work at all for our mind. And we just have to kind of play with that to see what's going to work for our particular mind. One of the things that Russell wrote was, if we repeatedly engage in certain types of thinking, then that creates the habit to think that way in the future. And again, we know that, but when we think deeply about that, what I am allowing my mind to think about and stay with then is creating a deeper and deeper habit over time. So then when I'm wondering why I can't change a habit very easily or very quickly, well, it's because of this. I've practiced that habit, I'm so familiar with it. It's such a deep groove in my mind. Russell also started talking about kind of from an evolutionary standpoint, we've talked about that before some, that we have this threat-based thinking pattern. And we started doing that as a species to help us survive. And so it's very deeply grained and often is the lens in which we look and the first knee-jerk response that we have when something happens that we're not so keen about. So this kind of threat-based thinking, it's the sort of thinking that focuses our minds on ourselves and how best to keep us comfortable in any given moment.
So
someone.
on that note, we will jump right into the meditation, into the routine. And I know I get a lot of viewers from the leftist social media, and if you're not into the devotional aspect of this style
aspiration to be a benefit
of Tibetan Buddhism, then try doing the Zen version where you just sit and you just breathe, focus on your breath, empty your mind, and every time a thought comes up, you just do away with it. You can think of it as like a piece of paper. The thought comes up, it's an image, it's a picture, and you just burn it and it's gone. Or you think of them as clouds and you don't do anything, you just sit there and let them come and go. Emotions and thoughts come and go like clouds, and you just sit and settle. But if you can, do give it a try, because this is a good meditation routine, and there's a lot of verbal and psychological exercises using your imagination in this meditation that will be really beneficial to you. So I recommend that you try it. So I'll shut up and we'll start with the meditation. I'm sitting on 3 pillows and I've got another one under my knees here and a towel for my knees, and I recommend you do the same thing. Have yourself a little caffeine pre-workout drink so that you can stay focused throughout the whole routine. Excuse me, bro.
beings, not to harm them, to benefit them. And in our understanding, the best benefit is to actually, for beings to be liberated from cyclic existence. And we aim to become Buddhas in order to help beings to be free in this way. Chodu has laid out this sadhana for us, helping us to generate these various mind states. And she starts by having us think about all of our potential, all the kind of positive qualities that we can develop. Infinite love, compassion, wisdom, skillful means. So imagine what it would feel like to be those qualities. Just let yourself be love, be wisdom. Try to feel the expansiveness and peace in your heart. The wisdom that it takes to have this kind heart. To be unencumbered in any way. Vast and expansive. Can take in everything that's happening in this world, reaching out to every being, human and otherwise, to benefit each one. So now imagine that these qualities of love, compassion, wisdom, skillful means appear in front of you in the form of Shakyamuni Buddha. So imagine this Buddha in front of you, in the space in front of you made of radiant, transparent light. He's sitting on a throne, above which is an open lotus flower and cushions of the sun and moon discs. This entire visualization is made of radiant, transparent light. But you're imagining a living being with a light body. So you feel yourself in the presence of the Buddha. But Buddha's body is golden in color. He wears the robes of a monastic. His right hand, with the palm down, rests on his right knee, with touching mudra. And his left hand is in his lap holding a bowl of nectar. And this nectar is the medicine to cure our afflictions and all of our hindrances. And the Buddha's face is very beautiful. You can look at the Buddha's eyes. He's smiling, his eyes are smiling. He's looking at you with total acceptance. And as he looks at you, he's also encompassing all sentient beings. The Buddha's eyes are very peaceful, long and narrow. His lips are red and his earlobes are long. Imagine rays of light radiating from every pore of the Buddha's body. This golden light going out to all the parts of the universe, touching beings, carrying miniature Buddhas to help beings. And as they complete their work, they dissolve back into the Buddha. The Buddha is surrounded by the entire lineage of spiritual teachers, all the meditational deities, innumerable other Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhats, Dakas, Dakinis, Dharma protectors. And at the side, near each spiritual mentor, is an elegant table, knotted are Dharma books. The sounds of the Dharma fill the air. so happy that we're here doing this together. Imagine their minds just blissful and peaceful, gazing at all sentient beings. So you imagine that actually you were surrounded by all sentient beings in human form. Your mother of this life is on your left. Your father of this life is on your right. Any people you have difficulty with, you imagine in front of you, facing the Buddha, keeping them there for protection. Family and friends are nearby. Countless strangers fill the space around you. And all of us are looking to the Buddha for guidance. So first we need to cultivate a sense of refuge. We think of all the dangers of cyclic existence. Just think about how things are not secure. We run into dissatisfaction, often dukkha, often. And people, all the beings around us, all the sentient beings around us, are also in the same boat, floundering in cyclic existence. And many of them have not met any kind of teachings that will help them out of this quagmire. So we generate compassion. And now think of the wonderful qualities of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and generate this sense of confidence in them, in their ability to guide you out of all of these recurring problems. To take refuge, we need causes, this kind of concern, this kind of alarm, fear type, and also this confidence and faith, and the compassion. So it is possible, on the basis of your present life and mind, to free yourself from all of these undesirable experiences. It's a resolve to explore that possibility to the fullest. Feel great trust and confidence in the three jewels, and open your heart to rely upon them to guide you and others from all of these difficulties of cyclic existence, and bring us to the peace, liberation, full awakening. So as we do these refuge verses, starting here, now we're on the top of page 21, we'll be taking refuge in the Buddha, and we imagine actually leading all of the sentient beings around us and going for refuge. And we visualize white, radiant light flowing from all of the Buddhas, the spiritual mentors, the Bodhisattvas, all of these holy beings flowing into us and all the beings around us. And this light completely purifies all of our destructive karmic imprints and afflictions. And it also brings all the realizations of the path. So put your hands in prayer position. Namo Guru Bhya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Gurubhya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Gurubhya. Namo Dharmaya. Nama Sangaya. Namo Guruvya. Namo Buddhaya. 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 Namo Dharmaya. Nama Sangaya. So feel that you've come under the protection of the three jewels. And now we turn our thoughts to others and think about how much we depend on other beings for everything that we have, everything we know, everything we use, everything we enjoy. Our food, clothing, resources of every kind. These come due to the efforts of others. Our knowledge, talents, good qualities, these too are developed due to the kindness of others. And our ability to practice the Dharma certainly depends on others who brought the teachings to us over the millennia by generating realizations in their mind and teaching. So this is a very great kindness, all of these things we want to bring to mind. Our innermost wish is to be free from suffering. And this is the case for everyone else as well. We want to be happy. All beings want to be happy. And like us, they encounter many difficulties, problems, sufferings. And usually, actually, their difficulties are more so than our own. Not always, but often. And when we examine our capacity to help beings, we find that we're actually quite limited. And we know from our practice that if we can reduce our anger, our attachment, our ignorance, our various faults, and if we can increase all of our good qualities, we're really going to be in a position to benefit beings. Imagine if we had just this generous heart that gives so easily, takes delight in giving, the kind of ethics that doesn't harm, has that just ingrained fortitude, loving kindness, compassion, wisdom. We'll be in excellent position to help beings. qualities developed. And if we develop them fully, like a Buddha does, then we'll be able to be of the greatest benefit to beings. So we generate this altruistic intention in order to be able to benefit beings most effectively. So as we take refuge and generate bodhicitta, imagine that light is flowing into you from all of these Buddhas and holy beings, and it's flowing into you and all the sentient beings around you. So we're on the top of page 22. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. So imagine the Buddha is so pleased with your altruistic intention. And a replica emerges from the Buddha, comes to the crown of your head, melts into golden light, and flows into you. Feel that you and the Buddha have become inseparable. Feel very close to the Buddha and allow your mind to be transformed and inspired. Let go of all conceptions you have about yourself. Let go of any self-denigrating thoughts. Let go of the concept of inherent existence and meditate on emptiness. As your heart appears a small Buddha, made of light. He radiates the light of wisdom and compassion in all directions throughout the entire universe. And this light transforms all sentient beings into Buddhas and all environments into pure lands, which are places where all the circumstances are conducive to practicing the Dharma and generating realizations. So imagine this. You've transformed all sentient beings into Buddhas and all environments into pure lands. In your imagination, well, why hasn't this become a reality? We sentient beings have bias, prejudice, we lack love, compassion, and joy. So now we want to wish ourselves and others to have all of these qualities. So we contemplate the four immeasurables. We do this to reinforce our own felt experience of love, compassion, joy, and equanimity for everyone. Friends, strangers, enemies, relatives, people you don't like, people you don't trust, anyone, everyone. So as we say those four immeasurables, feels. You want to listen to yourself say the words and contemplate as you recite. We'll pause between each of the four. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free of suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings not be separated from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. So, in order to achieve what we've just been aspiring towards, we need to purify our negativities, and we need a lot of merit. We need to abandon things and adopt things. So when we do this 7-limb prayer, this encompasses all this abandoning and adopting of things. So we'll pause after each line. And you want to go have your hands in the prayer position for this. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind. So imagine yourself and all the beings, the sentient beings around you, making prostrations to all the holy beings in front of you in the field of merit, repeatedly prostrating. And present clouds of every type of offering, actual and mentally transformed. So imagine offering everything beautiful to the Buddha and all the holy beings. You could fill the sky with offerings, make it very lovely and beautiful. You can think of flowers and fields and just everything that you love. Offer it to all the holy beings. You can do this repeatedly. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginning this time. So now we do like a glance meditation of the 4 opponent powers. So for this, bring to mind something that you wish to purify, some fault or mistake. Bring it clearly to mind and generate regret for that. And then the other opponent powers are taking refuge in generating bodhicitta, which we're doing in the practice. The practice itself will be the remedial action, but make a determination not to do this action again. And rejoice in the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. So think of common sentient beings like ourselves, the holy beings, and delight and rejoice in all of the virtue created by any kind of being. Let go of any jealousy, envy, and just rejoice in the goodness in the world. Use your own life experience. Think of things, people that you want to rejoice. And then the next verse. Please remain until cyclic existence ends. So now we offer a double dorje. This symbolizes long life. And we offer this to the holy beings. We do this requesting them to live long, to always be a part of our life. And you can do this multiple times in your imagination. And then the next verse. And turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. So again, make this offering. You're offering with both hands this beautiful 1,000-spoke Dharma wheel, golden in color. Offering this to the teachers and the Buddhas to guide you and to continue to teach the Dharma. And then the seventh one. I dedicate all the virtues of myself and others to the Great Awakening. So now we steer these limbs toward full awakening of ourself and all beings. Now we'll offer the mandala. Here we imagine everything beautiful in the universe, offering it to all holy beings with the wish that they will continue to teach and guide us, and that we can generate realizations in our mind. This ground anointed with perfume, flowers strewn Mount Meru, for land, sun, and moon, imagined as a Buddha land and offered to you. May all beings enjoy this pure land. The objects of attachment, aversion, and ignorance, friends, enemies, and strangers, my body, wealth, and enjoyments, I offer these without any sense of loss. Please accept them with pleasure and inspire me and others to be free from the three poisonous attitudes. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. So imagine all the holy beings are just delighted and they receive your offerings. And the offerings melt into light and dissolve into them, and these all absorb into the Buddha's heart. And then immediately he radiates light back to you, filling your body and mind. And this light inspires you to accomplish the path to full awakening. So in order to progress along the path, we need to develop realizations. And in order to do this, we need the inspiration of the lineage of spiritual mentors, especially your principal teacher or your root guru, who is the one who has touched your heart deeply. If you don't have a specific teacher, just think about Shakyamuni Buddha, or maybe you have a connection in your mind with his holiness. And we make this request on page 25. Glorious and precious root guru, sit upon the lotus and moon seat on my calm, guiding me with your great kindness. Bestow upon me the attainments of your body, speech, and mind. And so then, at this point, you imagine that a replica of your teacher in the aspect of the Buddha emerges from the Buddha in front of you. And it comes to sit on a lotus and moon disc on the crown of your head, facing the same direction as you. So then this Buddha on the crown of your head is going to act as an advocate for you to request inspiration from the entire field of merit as we continue the request. And we're doing the long one on page 26. Buddha, unequal teacher and guide, venerable protector Maitreya, successor, superior Sangha prophesied by Buddha, to you three Buddhas and Bodhisattvas I make request. Buddha, head of the Shakya clan, the foremost guide, peerless in expounding emptiness, Manjushri, embodiment of the Buddha's complete wisdom, exalted Nagarjuna, best of the superiors who sees the profound meaning, to you three crowning jewels of clear exposition I make request. Atisha, upholder of this great vehicle, who sees the profundity of dependent arising, Drone Rinpoche, elucidator of this good path, to these two ornaments of the world I make request. Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of objectless compassion, Manjushri, masteress, flawless wisdom, Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the snowy land sages, Losangapa, I make request at your feet. Holder of the white lotus, embodiment of all the conqueror's compassion, guide benefiting migrating beings in the land of snow mountains and beyond. Sole deity and refuge, Tenzin Gyatso, at your feet I make request. The eyes through whom the vast scriptures are seen, supreme doors for the fortunate who would cross over to spiritual freedom, illuminators whose wise beings vibrate with compassion. To the entire line of spiritual mentors I make request. So imagine all of the figures in the field of merit melting into light, dissolving into you. Into the central figure of the Buddha in front of you. All the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, the Arhats, Dakkas, the Kimis, Dharma protectors, all of these beings melt into light, dissolve into the central figure of Shakyamuni Buddha. And now Shakyamuni Buddha embodies the three jewels. And this Buddha absorbs into the Buddha on the crown of your head. And then as we recite the Buddha's mantra, try to let your mind be very open and receptive. Imagine this white light flowing into you from the Buddha on the crown of your head. It purifies all your negativities, all your obscurations, and it generates within you the realizations of the stages of the path. So we recite the Buddha's mantra together. Tayata Om Mune Mune Maha Mune Soha. 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 Now, re-establish the visualization of Shakyamuni Buddha above the crown of your head, made of golden, transparent, radiant light, a living being. And this Buddha melts into light and dissolves into you. Your body, speech, and mind become inseparable from those of the Buddha. And then we'll make the dedication prayers, starting on the page that we're on in the sadhana, which is 27. Due to this merit, may we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhi mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore.
So this has been the Tibetan Buddhist meditation on the Buddha, and it's a very old school specific style of meditation. And I picked this school of Buddhism because I agree with the politics of the teachers of this school, which is leftist, liberal politics, where they are protesting against Trump. They are environmentalists. They believe in animal rights and these kind of things. So I have similar views. And that's the most important thing. When they do these exercises where they're visualizing teachers, you can visualize the authors of the schools of thought that you resonate with. For me, I picture the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, the historical Buddha, Gautama Buddha, whose name was Siddhartha Gautama. And I'll visualize, these metaphorical Buddhas of the past and future. There's Manjushri and Maitreya, which are the Buddhas of wisdom in the harsh aspect, and love and compassion in the gentle aspect. And underneath them, I'll visualize these Buddhist nuns. There's the Venerable Thubten Chodron. And I picture them, and when I say underneath, I picture them sitting on a hill in front of me, using my imagination, right? Sitting on giant lotus flowers in rows. And underneath the row of the Buddhas is the row of the monastics, the spiritual teachers, who are probably closer to enlightenment than I am as far as dedication and daily practice go. And then beneath them, I picture the people who got me seriously into the practice of yoga and Buddhism, meditation, martial arts, like my martial arts teachers that have similar views as me. Like Stephen Kesting is a great jiu-jitsu black belt who has good, wholesome, compassionate views about politics. You can find him on Blue Sky and YouTube. And then I picture Alana Greenberg is the yoga teacher who encouraged me to become a teacher. I picture Scott Feinberg, another yoga teacher who trained me to become a teacher. John and Melissa Polici are meditation teachers and authors. So I picture them, you know, in my imagination, sitting on a hill in front of me in the woods with a stream, sitting on giant lotus flowers, using my imagination in detail to picture these spiritual teachers, the rows of Buddhas, the monastics like Thubten Chodron, the Buddhist nun who I would correspond with, Gawang Samten, and also the Dalai Lama, right? And then beneath them, my yoga teachers and meditation teachers, Alana Greenberg, Scott Feinberg, John and Melissa Polici, Mary Veal, and people like this from Kula Yoga Shala in Jupiter, Florida, where I became a yoga teacher. And for meditation teachers, you know, there's that. And then martial arts teachers, I picture Stephen Kesting, Marcelo Garcia. You know, these are people who I know have met, corresponded with. I also picture Lee Yokota, who's a really good mixed martial arts teacher, and Asa Tenpao, a good Muay Thai teacher who I have trained with that I picture. And then, you know, beneath them, sitting in the grass on lotus flowers in this hill, I picture the philosophical teachers that I admire, like Abdullah Öcalan and Murray Bookchin. Who are some of the ladies? There's Octavia Butler and Sylvia Federici. She writes a lot of really cool stuff about feminism and witchcraft. So, you know, I picture all of these people. In my imagination, I picture people who have been martyred in these paths that I admire, and some of them were like left-wing revolutionaries, some of them were Buddhists, like spiritual teachers, and Martin Luther King, Gandhi, and people like this. And I visualized all these people in a crowd sitting here meditating with me and practicing with me and inspiring me to, you know, continue through whatever kind of suffering I might experience. So, on that note, I will move on. I'm going to put on an audiobook actually while I practice. We're going to do the yoga next. The meditation is over, and we're going to do the short version of the Ashtanga Yoga primary series. So I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. I recommend you do the same. Have yourself some caffeine pre-workout drink or water. And I'm playing this audiobook. I'm going to play about 30 minutes of it. It's 2 hours long because somebody reached out to me looking for advice in light of the political situation in the United States right now. And I told them, you know, there's not much I can say. I'm on federal probation. I recommend you get into a daily routine like the one I'm demonstrating. But I also recommend that you listen to or read this book that I'm about to play. And the guy who wrote it is a Navy SEAL. I don't know what his political views are, but I assume he's on the right. I don't agree with everything he says in this audiobook, but it gives you a really motivating, good format to prepare your body and your mind for facing adversity and difficult circumstances and how to create a daily routine. And he advocates the practice of mental exercises like meditation and stretching like yoga and having a daily routine of martial arts and physical fitness, eating healthy and clean, and pursuing your goals, setting your short-term, long-term goals, and going after them on a daily basis. And I recommend the same thing. So we'll listen to 30 minutes of this, and when I do the workout, I'm going to put on the same thing that has been put to music by an artist, and that's very nice to listen to for motivation in the workout.
Wrinkles Freedom Field Manual by Jocko Willink. This book is dedicated to Mark Lee, Mike Mansour, and Ryan Jobe from SEAL Team 3 Task Unit Bruiser, who lived and fought and died as warriors. Part 1. Thoughts. The way of discipline. People look for the shortcut, the hack. And if you came here looking for that, you won't find it. The shortcut is a lie. The hack doesn't get you there. And if you want to take the easy road, it won't take you to where you want to be. Stronger, smarter, faster, healthier, better, free. To reach goals and overcome obstacles and be the best version of you possible will not happen by itself. It will not happen cutting corners, taking shortcuts, or looking for the easy way. There is no easy way. There is only hard work, late nights, early mornings, practice, rehearsal, repetition, study, sweat, blood, toil, frustration, and discipline. Discipline. There must be discipline. Discipline, the root of all good qualities, the driver of daily execution. The core principle that overcomes laziness and lethargy and excuses. Discipline defeats the infinite excuses that say, not today, not now, I need a rest, I'll do it tomorrow. What's the hack? How do you become stronger, smarter, faster, healthier? How do you become better? How do you achieve true freedom? There is only one way. The way of discipline. Why? Why? Over and over and over again, I'm asked, why? What drives me? When I was younger, I was preparing for war. I knew that somewhere out there, another man was also preparing. That man was my enemy. He was working, training, planning, and preparing to meet me on the battlefield. I didn't know when. I didn't know where, but I knew at some point we would meet. And I wanted to be ready. Ready mentally, ready physically, ready emotionally. So I trained. And I prepared. And I did everything I could to be ready for that day. When I became a leader, I took the same approach. To prepare my men in the same way, to train brutally and without mercy, so we could fight brutally and without mercy. And the day came. We met the enemy on the battlefield. We were ready, and we fought, and we won. Then one day, it was over. I was no longer a soldier, no longer a leader of men. I was no longer preparing myself or my men for war. So, what drives me now? The answer is simple. The men that did not come home.
So I'll pause on that note. I'm going to open the yoga practice with a short mantra in Sanskrit that basically means thank you to the teachers of the past, present, and future for bringing this practice to us, because this practice helps alleviate the suffering of existence. And then I will continue to play this audiobook and We will do the short version of the Ashtanga Yoga primary series. And I'll close with a mantra before we work out at the end. Vande Gurunam Charanarvinde Sandarshita Sama Sukhava Bodhe Nirshe Se Jamrilikaya Mane Samsara Halala Mohashantiye Abahu Purushakaram Shankasikrasi Dharinam Sahasra Shirasam Shwetam Pranamami Patanjalim Om. And we'll begin.
Mark and Mikey and Ryan. But it is not only them. There are others. Hundreds more. Thousands more. Countless more. Who fought and died to give me the gift of freedom. And for them, I will make every day, every minute, every second, I will make it all count. I will live to honor their sacrifice, a life worthy of the price they paid for me, for us. I will not let them down. Where does discipline come from? Where does discipline come from? This is a simple answer. Discipline comes from within. Discipline is an internal force. Sure, you can have discipline imposed on you by a person like a drill instructor or that self-help guru on TV. But the reality is, he won't give you the real discipline. Because that external discipline is not strong. It will not survive. It cannot stand on its own. What you are looking for, what you need, is self-discipline. Self-discipline, as the very name implies, comes from the self, you. It comes when you make a decision to be disciplined. When you make a decision to be better. When you make a decision to do more and be more. Self-discipline comes when you decide to make a mark on the world. If you don't think you are disciplined, it is because you haven't decided to be disciplined yet. It is because you haven't created it yet. It is because you haven't become it yet. So where does it come from? It comes from you. So make the decision, make the commitment, become the discipline. Embrace its cold and relentless power. And it will make you better and stronger and smarter and faster and healthier than anything else. And most important, it will make you free. Overcoming procrastination, when and where to start. People want to know how to stop laziness. They want to know how to stop procrastination. They have an idea in their head, maybe even a vision, but they don't know where to start. So they ask and they say, where do I start? When is the best time to start? And I have a simple answer. Here and now. That's it. You want to improve? You want to get better? You want to get on a workout program or a clean diet or start a new business? You want to write a book or make a movie or build a house or a computer or an app? Where do you start? You start right here. When do you start? You start right now. You initiate action. You go. Here is the reality. That idea isn't going to execute itself. That book isn't going to write itself. Those weights out in the gym, they aren't going to move themselves. You have to do it. And you have to do it now. So stop thinking about it. Stop dreaming about it. Stop researching every aspect of it and reading all about it and debating the pros and cons of it. Start doing it. Take that first step and make it happen. Get after it. Here. And now. The person you can control. People are not who you want them to be. Kill your idols. Sure, there are things we can learn from people, but people aren't going to be what you think they are, what they should be. People. Even those people you have put up on a pedestal are going to be faulted, weak, egomaniacal, condescending. They're going to be lazy, entitled, short-sighted. They will not be perfect. Far from. That's fine. Learn from their weaknesses. Of course, learn from their strengths and mimic and copy them in what they do well, but equally as important, learn from their faults. See what not to do. Because you can't control other people. You can't make them what you want them to be. You can't make them who you want them to be. The only person you can control is you. So focus on making yourself who you want to be. Faster, stronger, smarter, more humble, less ego. Discipline your body. Free your mind. Get up early and go. Get after it, and you'll become the person you want to be. And you become that person through one small decision at a time. Mind control. When people think of the words mind control, they think of people controlling the minds of other people. Not me. I think about controlling my own mind. Sure, we are physical beings, and we must obviously embrace our physicality, but we are our minds. And I'm not going to go philosophical on what that means and where the you actually is, whether it's in a soul or your brain or your heart or some other conjured up place. What I do know is this: you, your mind, the thing that is listening and comprehending these words right now, that is you, and you can control it. You are the machine, and you can control it. People ask me, how do I get tougher? use that mind control to move your life where you want it to be. Stronger, faster, smarter, quicker, friendlier, more helpful, more driven. And don't let your mind control you. Control your mind. And then you can set it free. Weakness. Do I have weakness? I am nothing but weakness. I'm not naturally strong or fast or flexible. I'm certainly not the smartest person in the world. I get emotional over stupid things. I eat the wrong foods. I don't sleep enough. I procrastinate and I waste time. I care too much about meaningless things and not enough about important things. My ego is too big. My mind is too small, often trapped inside itself. Now, all that being said, I have a saying. A person's strength is often their biggest weakness, but their weaknesses can become strengths. Me, I am weak. In all those ways, I am weak. But I don't accept that. I don't accept that I am what I am, and that is what I am doomed to be. No, I do not accept that. I'm fighting. I'm always fighting. I'm struggling, and I'm scraping, and kicking, and clawing at those weaknesses to change them, to stop them. Some days, I win. But some days, I don't. But each and every day, I get back up and I move forward with my fists clenched toward the battle, toward the struggle. And I fight with everything I've got to overcome those weaknesses and those shortfalls and those flaws as I strive to be just a little bit better today than I was yesterday. Stress. First of all, and I don't need to minimize the stress that people face, but imagine what Eugene Sledge went through on Peleliu and the tens of thousands of Marines there who suffered unimaginable harm. Imagine David Hackworth assaulting enemy positions in Korea, wounded over and over again on the line, still going back for more. Imagine the poet warrior Alan Seeger in World War I, getting ready to go over the top and make his rendezvous with death. Imagine the thousands of warriors who have gone before you, who have stood and faced evil and death. And now imagine you. I used to do this myself while in Iraq facing stress. Yes, we took casualties, and yes, it was awful and heartbreaking and every bit as wretched as I could imagine. But warriors have faced much more. The Battle of the Somme, or Gettysburg, or the Battle of the Bulge, or the Chosin Reservoir. Humans can withstand almost inconceivable stress. And you can too. So that is your first step. Gain perspective. And to do that, you must do something else critical in many situations. Detach. Whatever problems or stress you are experiencing, detach from them. Stress is generally caused by what you can't control. The worst thing about incoming artillery fire is you can't control it. It is happening, and you just have to accept it. Don't stress about things you can't control. If the stress is something that you can control, and you are not, that is a lack of discipline and a lack of ownership. Get control of it. Impose your will and make it happen. Solve the problem. Relieve the stress. If the stress is something you can't control, embrace it. You can't control it, but how can you look at it from a different angle? How can you use it to your advantage? I couldn't control the chaos of the combat. I had to embrace it. I had to figure out a way to take advantage of it. Make it into your ally. So, don't fight the stress. Embrace it. Turn it on itself. Use it to make yourself sharper and more alert. Use it to make you think and learn and get better and smarter and more effective. Use the stress to make you a better you. Destroyer mode. Where does the switch come from? The overdrive. The berserker mode. The full-on destroyer that will not stop. I think this is something that is learned. And it is a hard lesson, and not everyone gets it. And it is an important lesson, a critical one. It is the thing that allows you to go the extra distance, to dig a little deeper, to push a little harder, to get after it. And it actually takes two opposing forces to bring it to life. It takes both emotion and logic to reach your maximum potential, to really give everything you have, to go beyond your limits. Because emotion and logic will both reach their limitations. And when one fails, you need to rely on the other. When it just doesn't make any logical sense to go on, that's when you use your emotion, your anger, your frustration, your fear to push further, to push you to say one thing: I don't stop. When your feelings are screaming that you have had enough, when you think you are going to break emotionally, override that emotion with concrete logic and willpower that says one thing: I don't stop. Fight weak emotions with the power of logic. Fight the weakness of logic with the power of emotion. And in the balance of those two, you will find the strength and the tenacity and the guts to say to yourself, I don't stop. Until the end. Something I saw in combat that I later tried to train out of people was the tendency to relax once the primary objective of a mission was complete. I tried to train that out of them because you can't relax until the entire mission is complete. In training, we always attack the platoons hard on their primary objective, but we always attack them even harder after they left the main target. Once the platoons were patrolling back to base, when their minds had already gone home and turned off, that's when we bring it to them. Hit them from multiple angles with all kinds of mayhem. So they would develop the attitude and the muscle memory to keep going until the end. And even when they got back to base, we would retask them so that they had to begin playing again. It wouldn't stop. That's the mentality I wanted to instill in them. It is never finished. You always have more to do. Another mission, another task, another goal. And the enemy is always watching, waiting, looking for that moment of weakness, looking for you to exhale, set down your weapon, close your eyes, even just for a moment. And that's when they attack. So don't be finished. Be starting. Be alert. Be ready. Be attacking. Be relentless. Let the enemy stop. Let the enemy rest. Let the enemy finish. You don't finish. Don't stop. Don't rest. Not until the absolutely have to apply it to things beyond waking up early. It is working out every day, making yourself stronger and faster and more flexible and healthier. It is eating the right foods to fuel your system correctly. It is disciplining your emotions so you can make good decisions. It is about having the discipline to control your ego so it doesn't get out of hand and control you. It is about treating people the way you would want to be treated. It is about doing the tasks you don't want to do, but you know will help you. Discipline is about facing your fears so you can conquer them. Discipline means taking the hard road, the uphill road, to do what is right for you and for others. So often, the easy path calls us to be weak for that moment, to break down another time, to give in to desire and short-term gratification. Discipline will not allow that. Discipline calls for strength and fortitude and will. It won't accept weakness. It won't tolerate a breakdown in will. Discipline can seem like your worst enemy, but in reality, it is your best friend. It will take care of you like nothing else can. And it will put you on the path to strength and health and intelligence and happiness. And most important, discipline will put you on the path to freedom. Questions. Knowledge is a powerful tool. It is the master of your tools. It is where your tools come from, because without knowledge, there is nothing. Let's take that one step further. Knowledge is the ultimate weapon. It trumps all other weapons. Thought is what wins. The mind is what wins. Knowledge is what wins. And you gain knowledge by asking questions. But which questions should you ask? Simple. Question everything. Don't accept anything as truth. Question it all. When you don't understand a word, get out the dictionary. When you don't understand a concept, break it down until you do. When you don't know how something works, dig in until you do. Ask every question that comes to mind. That is how you learn. And most important, question yourself. Question yourself every day. Ask yourself, who am I? What have I learned? What have I created? What forward progress have I made? Who have I helped? What am I doing to improve myself today to get better, faster, stronger, healthier, smarter? Is this what I want to be? This? Is this all I've got? Is this everything I can give? Is this going to be my life? Do I accept that? Ask yourself those questions, those hard questions, and then answer them truthfully. And realize that all of us, can do better. We can be better. And it starts when you begin to ask those questions. So ask the hard questions of yourself and find the path to progress and discipline and to freedom inside the answers. Fight. Go down swinging. And I'll tell you, if you fight with all you have, more often than not, you won't go down at all. You will win. But you have to make that attitude a part of your everyday life. Do the extra repetition. Run the extra mile. Go the extra round. Make the right choices. Give the full measure. Make yourself stronger mentally and physically. Stand and fight. Fight against weakness, against fear, against time, and against decay. Fight back. Go down swinging. stand up. Go forward. Go out in a blaze of glory, fighting with everything you've got, every ounce of energy, every bead of sweat, every drop of blood until your last breath. And then, and only then, can you stand down. Put down your sword and your shield and rest in peace. Compromise. When working with other people in dynamic situations and relationships and deals, a person, especially a leader, must compromise. Finding the common ground between teams, merging different approaches to the same problem, bridging personalities with people who might not get along, reaching agreements in courses of action. All of these require compromise. And in many cases, a failure to compromise is a failure to succeed. But those are external compromises with other people, other humans that have their own personalities and ethos and issues. And compromise is needed to unify. So to work with them, compromise is a must. But internally, it's different. With myself, I have to hold the line. There are areas within myself where I cannot compromise. I am going to work hard. I am going to train hard. I am going to improve myself. I am not going to rest on my laurels. I'm going to own my mistakes and confront them. I'm going to face my demons. I'm not going to give up or give out or give in. I am going to stand. I am going to maintain my self-discipline. And on those points, there will be no compromise. Not now. Not ever. Default aggressive. Proactive and aggressive are similar, and they are both good. You certainly have to be proactive in the world. You want to be dictating what happens, not responding to it. And yes, that means creating or controlling a situation as much as you can. But being aggressive, that means you are ready to attack. As I always point out, this doesn't mean you walk around with your chest puffed out, ready to bang heads with everyone around you. It doesn't mean you confront people physically or mentally head on without a tactically superior plan. It doesn't mean you go straight forward into conflict without thought, without reason. It doesn't mean you engage in attrition warfare. No. That is almost never smart. What it does mean is that you are going to get after it. You are going to move fast. You are going to think fast. You are going to outthink and outmaneuver the enemy. If I think the enemy is going to attack me, I'm going to attack them first. If I think they are going to seize a piece of terrain, I'm going to be there waiting for them. If I think the enemy is going to flank me, too late. I'm already flanking them. I don't view aggression as an outward attitude. I view aggression as an internal character trait. A fire in your mind that says, I am going to win. I am going to battle, and I am going to fight, and I am going to use every tool I have to crush my enemy. And that tool might be fists, but it might be guile. It might be a frontal attack, but it might be a flanking maneuver. It might be an undeniable display of force, but it also might be a subtle political maneuver. And that is what aggression is to me, the unstoppable fighting spirit, the drive, the burning desire to achieve mission success using every possible tool, asset, and strategy and tactic to bring about victory. It is the will to win. military, I worked with every type of person. Ivy League kids with silver spoons, former gangbangers, hood rats, prep school kids, kids from blue-collar families, kids from strong families, kids with no families, kids who were pampered, and kids who were abused, and everything in between. Everything. And with all those different types of people, there were good and bad, successful and unsuccessful. And in working with businesses, I see the same thing. People from every walk of life, from the bottom to the top. And I have seen every type of person be successful. So to me, it is not about nature or nurture. It is about choice. The people who are successful decide they are going to be successful. They make that choice. And they make other choices. They decide to study hard. They decide to work hard. They decide to be the first person to get to work and the last to go home. They decide they're going to take on the hard jobs, take on the challenges. They decide they're going to lead when no one else will. They choose who they're going to hang around, and they choose who they will emulate. They choose to become who they want to become. They aren't inhibited by nature or nurture. They overcome both. And I'll tell you something else. It is never too late to make that choice. You are never too old to decide where you are going to focus your efforts and push to make the most out of every situation. So, think not about what you've been through and where you were. Think about where you are going and choose. Choose to make yourself smarter and stronger and healthier. Choose to work out and study and eat good food and keep your mind clean. Don't let nature or nurture make you. Choose to make yourself.
So this has been the short version of the Ashtanga Yoga primary series, and we've been listening to Discipline Equals Freedom Field Manual by Jocko Willenick. And I'm going to close the yoga with the Ashtanga Yoga closing mantra in Sanskrit, which means good luck to those who lead with compassion. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. Peace, peace, perfect peace. Swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam nayena margena mahimahisha yo brahmebhyah paripala shubhamatsya nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Next we're going to do the martial arts workout using body weight exercises only and the space in this room. So there will be some body weight exercises that are just pure calisthenics and some that are martial arts like boxing, shadow boxing, kickboxing. We're going to do it in the format of the high intensity interval training. So there will be 30 seconds to a minute of full body exercise, then legs, then upper body, then core. And then we'll repeat that format, those 4 types of exercises, over and over for at least 32 minutes, maybe a little longer depending on how I feel and what I have to do later in the day and so on. So here's the workout if you want to take a screenshot and follow along. These are the techniques that these exercises are reinforcing. This is the full body, legs, upper body, core, and this is the boxing combos that I'm working on. So I'm going to put on a playlist of music that is what we were just listening to, but put to music, right? Oh, I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break and then we'll get started.
We talk about the path. We talk about discipline. We talk about living clean. But it is not an easy path. It is filled with temptations and pitfalls and hazards and traps. And it's hard to stay on the path. It's hard to stay on the path. And if you fall off, it gets even harder to get back on. But you can do it. You can do it. And if you fall off, it gets even harder to get back on. But you can do it. You can do it. We talk about the path. We talk about discipline. We talk about living clean. But it is not an easy path. It is filled with temptations and pitfalls and hazards and traps. And it is hard to stay on the path. It is hard to stay on the path. You gotta be honest with yourself. Do not be a slave. Don't be a slave to drugs or booze or emotion or whatever weakness is trying to be your master. Allow it. Tell the truth. Call out your own weaknesses. Then impose discipline. Impose your will and climb back up onto the path and set yourself free. We talk about the path. We talk about discipline. We talk about living clean. But it is not an easy path. It is filled with temptations and pitfalls and hazards and traps. And it is hard to stay on the path. It is hard to stay on the path. And we talk about discipline. And we talk about living clean. But it is not an easy path. You gotta go down swing. Go down swinging. And I'll tell you this, if you fight with all you've got, more often than not, you won't go down at all. You'll win. But you gotta make that attitude part of your everyday life, the extra rep.
Okay, we're about to get started now.
Make choices to make yourself stronger mentally and physically. Stand and fight. Fight against weakness and against fear. Fight against time and decay. Fight back. Swing.
Good.
Swing.
body. Core, we're doing leg raises. So I'm taking it kind of easy today. We're just doing it without going real hard.
Does discipline ever fail you? No. Actually, discipline does not fail me. I feel discipline. That's what happens on days where I veer off the path and onto the slippery slope of weakness. It is discipline's fault. It is my fault.
Kicks.
I'm the one that's being weak. It's my fault. I'm the one that's not holding the line. I'm the one that is deciding to take the short-term gratification instead of the long-term domination. When I make that error, when I let discipline down, there's only one thing to do, and that's get back on the path. Get back on it. Get back on the path.
Awesome.
Get back on it. Get back on the path. Get back on it. Step it up and go harder and push more. Get back on the path. Get back on it. When laziness creeps in, it's not discipline that opened the door. It's me. It's me rationalizing and explaining and justifying that laziness. When I decide to take the easy path instead of the righteous path of discipline, that is my decision. That's all on me. That's all on me. It's me deciding to cave to my weaknesses and become a slave to them.
Core, head movement for the core.
When I make that error, when I let discipline down, there's only one thing to do. Get back on it. Get back on the path. Get back on it. Get back on the path. Get back on it. Step it up and go harder and push more. Get back on the path. Get back on it.
Full body burpee.
Transgressions. Cleanse yourself in the fire and the suffering of the discipline and get back on the path. The hard, unrelenting path of discipline. That path that leads to freedom.
The legs, we're gonna squat.
First thing when a revolution happens, they take over the radio stations because they want to get right into the thoughts of the people. It's going in your brain. It's words. Remember, kill the dog. Just press play. Rome wasn't built in a day. We all know that. Everyone hears that. But Rome also
clapping push-ups. Or sit-ups. Full body burpee? Nope. Body coordination too. We're gonna lunge and come up and hook, and then squat and hook. Watch and watch. For core, we're going to do high knees. Next we're doing a full body burpee. For legs, we're going to do uppercuts from a deep lunge, and then squat and uppercut.
This is actually something that
So that the body can stand push-ups. Or whatever push-up you want.
When something is wrong and going bad, you always just look at me and say, good. Good. And I say, well, yeah. And I mean it. And that is how I feel. When things are going bad, there's going to be some good. That's going to
Core, we're gonna do donkey kicks.
mission got canceled? Good. We can focus on another one. Didn't get the new high-speed gear we wanted? Good. We can keep it simple. Didn't get promoted? Good. More time to get better. Didn't get funded? Good. We own more of the company. Didn't get the job you wanted? Good. You can get more experience, build a better resume. You're gonna say good. You're gonna say good.
Full body, we're gonna do hip throw, form, solo drill.
You're gonna say good.
With some variations. I do it backwards. Realistically,
Got injured. Got injured. Sprained my ankle. Good.
backwards.
Took a break from training. Got tapped out. Good. Good. It's better to tap in training than to tap out on the street. Got beat. Good. You
The
learn.
legs, we're doing a hip throw squat.
Unexpected problems. Good. We have the opportunity to figure out a solution. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. When things are going bad, 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 bad. Don't get all bummed out. Don't get startled. Don't get frustrated. No, no, no. Just look at the issue. And you say,
Look at the body,
you're gonna say good.
pummeling, easy round.
You're gonna say good. You're gonna say good. You're gonna say good. 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 You're gonna say good. I don't mean to say something that's all cliche. I don't mean to sound like Mr. Positive.
Core, we're gonna do hip throw forward like a good morning weightlifting exercise.
Focus on the good. Take that issue, take that problem, take that issue, take that problem, make it something good. Make it something good. And bring that attitude to your team. Do that. You go forward. You're gonna say good. You're gonna say good.
And again, that's for the core. Full body burpee.
And like to close this out, if you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing,
Upper body or legs.
now
We're gonna do footwork.
you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, go out on the attack. And that right there is about as good as it gets.
my legs a little bit, doing some footwork,
If you're looking for that, you won't
push-ups.
The shortcut is a lie. The hack doesn't get you there. If you want to take the easy road, it won't take you to where you want to be. Stronger, smarter, faster, healthier, better.
Core, flutter kicks.
Reach goals and overcome obstacles and be the best version of you possible will not happen by itself. It will not happen cutting corners, taking shortcuts, or looking for the easy way. There is no easy way. There is only hard work, late nights, early mornings, practice, rehearsal, repetition, study, sweat, blood, toil, frustration, and discipline.
Next, we're gonna break, fall, and technical stand-up. Come up swinging, keep your head off the ground. Kick, post, kick. Oops, I forgot to start the timer. This is the full body exercise round. Now we're gonna break fall without using the hands. I'm keeping my chin on my chest. And I come up without the hands.
Daily execution. The core principle that overcomes laziness.
My chin's on my chest so my head doesn't hit the ground. And I tell everybody, and they don't listen when the head hits the ground. That's on you. I told you. Multiple times. Every time. Alright, upper body. We're gonna push up and sit out.
How do you become stronger, smarter, faster, healthier? How do you become better? How do you achieve true freedom? There's only one way.
The core, we're gonna do a hip bump sit up, which leads to Kimura or guillotine or the hip bump. Full body burpee.
People want to know how to stop the laziness. They want to know how to stop the procrastination. They have some idea in their
Legs.
head.
We're going back to the one leg squat.
Kind of a vision.
On the ball of your foot.
But they
All the
don't
way.
Touch
the ground.
Where do I start? And when's the best time to start? Where do I start? And when's the best time to start? Where do I start? And when's
nice and slow, with control, safely. Bringing the heel up, the hips down. Upper body, one-arm push-ups, or any push-up that you can do. Do it. Core, leg raises. Full body exercise next.
Isn't gonna write itself, and the weights out in the gym.
We're gonna sprawl.
Themselves. You have to do it, and you have to do it now. And that means you gotta stop thinking about it, and stop dreaming about it, and stop researching every aspect of it, and reading all about it, and debating the pros and cons of it. Just start doing it. You want to improve? You want to get better?
We're gonna shoot for the takedown.
Workout program or a clean diet? You want to start a business? You want to write a book, make a movie, or build a house, or a computer, or put together some mobile application? You want to get better? Go. You want to improve? You want to get better? Take that first step and make it happen. Get after it.
Upper body.
Get after it.
We're gonna push up to knee on belly from side control.
Default aggressive.
And switch sides.
Proactive and aggressive are similar, and they are both good. You certainly have to be proactive in the world. You want to be dictating what happens, not responding to it.
Core.
Yes, that means creating or
We're
controlling
gonna do armbar sit-up
as much
from
as you
side control, switching sides.
That means you are ready to attack. As I always point out, this doesn't mean you walk around with your chest puffed out, ready to bang heads with everyone around you. It doesn't mean you confront people physically or mentally head on without a tactically superior plan. It doesn't mean you go straight forward into conflict without thought and without reason. It doesn't mean you engage in attrition warfare. No, that is almost never smart. Default aggressive. We're going to get after it.
Full body burpee.
You're going to move fast. You're going to think fast. You're going to outthink and outmaneuver the enemy. Default aggressive. You're going to get after it. You're going to move fast. You're going to think fast. You're going to outthink and outmaneuver the enemy. If I think the enemy is going to attack me, I'm going to attack them first. If I think they are going to seize a piece of terrain, I'm going to be there waiting for them. If I think the enemy is going to
Squat
fight
and
me
jump.
too late, I'm already fighting them. I don't view
Ready?
aggression
Go.
as an outward attitude. I view aggression as an internal character trait. A fire in your mind that says, I am going to win.
jumps. Upper body. Ooh. Supposed to be clapping push-ups again. We shall see. Wait. 4. We're gonna do hot dog rolls. So this is for when you're in a leg lock position. And you pass the leg over. So you can attack from the other side. Full body burpee. Legs.
And if that kind of internal, relentless aggression
We're going out of
is
order.
your default mode, you will win.
Kneel down and stand up for the leg exercise. This is technical as well as symbolic.
If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't feel advised, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good.
Handstand push-up.
If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves, and a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn out tools.
We're gonna scoot sideways as if we were in the holding them in the closed guard.
One heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss.
Now we're gonna roll.
If you can force your heart
If you're not experienced to roll from your knees,
serve your turn long after they are gone. And so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them,
it's a hip throw with a roll. So this is you get a collar grip, post on the hip, throw them backwards over you. Rolling into a leg lock. leg lock entry from standing.
If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch. If neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much. Fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run. Yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And, which is more,
You can just cross your feet and lift up, or you can do the lotus
man.
push up for more depth. Doing 25. Alright, Russian twist. This round is all related to leg lock techniques. Alright, now that's pretty much it, but I want to put it all together. And freestyle each round a little bit. So, let's start off with some kickboxing. Throwing
One
some
thing
mat
that
drills.
discipline definitely does help you with, it helps you get things done. And when you get things done, when you actually do things, you have more success. A big part of success is just not being fucking lazy and just doing it. 90% of it is just showing up. Get there and start working. Like, you're not gonna feel perfect every day. If I only worked out when I felt good, I'd be a fat fuck. Because there's a lot of days I want to do it. I mean, it's pretty much the same with everybody that actually
Good
gets good at
legs.
something. There's gotta be those days you push through. They're probably gonna be more numerous than the days you don't. And so the benefit of discipline in my eyes is always okay. That through discipline, I get things done. I'm like the most lazy, disciplined person I know. Because I don't want to do it. But through discipline, I get things done. Bro goes to work. But through discipline, I get things done. This is what I do. I also think that discipline is a pathway to creativity. When you're on the battlefield, is an
Upper body.
absolute exercise in creativity. How are we going to attack them? How are we going to disorganize them? How are we going to get in their heads? That's all just massive creativity. And when I look at people that are artists, I would imagine the more disciplined you are, you gotta write stuff down, you gotta read, you gotta increase your vocabulary so that you are quicker and sharper, so when people are saying things, you have more words to battle back at them. All those things, all that freedom that you put on stage comes from the discipline. You study, you learn, you read, you write, you talk, you go through things. Is that an accurate statement? Absolutely accurate. Through discipline, I get things done. Bro goes to work. But through discipline, I get things done. This is what I do. Through discipline, I get things done. Bro goes to work. But through discipline, I get things done.
That's it. So we did the meditation on the Buddha. We did the short version of the Ashtanga Yoga primary series, and then we just did the martial arts body weight workout routine in the format of a high intensity interval training. So I'm doing all this before work. I encourage you to do the same. Please like, share, and subscribe, and develop your own routine, daily routine, where you do the whole body, mind, hygiene, fitness, health, self-care thing in one big block. So I do 30 minutes meditation, 30 minutes yoga, 30 minutes martial arts. And for the martial arts, I'm doing kickboxing, boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, judo drills, just the most practical, effective martial arts out there. And nothing real fancy. All the stuff I do comes from competition training where, I've proved it with results. So that's my credentials. I recommend that you give it a try, and you'll feel happy and healthy and be strong and able to defend yourself and the people you care about. See you tomorrow.